Grand Canyon rim to rim crossing in a day. It's kind of a ultra marathoner's badge of honor. I don't know. It's one of those, as I kind of researched it, kind of a water level mark of do you have enough? It was basically a double crossing. It's down all the way across, all the way up, and then back again. Down, across, and up. I guess a good hiker can go to the bottom in a day and then out the other side in a day, which is a legit climb down and back for a hiker. But for an ultra marathoner, again, rim to rim to rim. So I thought we'd give it a shot. So began training, trained for about 6 months on the treadmill, on the stair climber, outside running some paths that really the most hills that we have here in Ohio, and flew out to the Grand Canyon with a buddy. And so here we are, 4 a.m. the morning of, ready to start this thing, going down the South Kaibab Trail, across the canyon, up the North Kaibab, then back down the North Kaibab, across, and then up the Bright Angel. So you're looking at 44 miles in this rim to rim crossing. So morning of, it is currently 3:37 a.m. I got to beat the mule train down, so I don't want to have to pass any mules. And I'm feeling a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, a little excited, a little scared, everything at once. But I think that's healthy. I definitely, after seeing the Grand Canyon yesterday, have a incredible new respect, and just gonna give it my best shot. So got to take what comes at you. It's kind of like life. So here we go. Going to the Grand Canyon. About 4 o'clock in the morning. It's about 30 degrees, and standing on the top of South Kaibab Trail, about to head down across up the north side and then back down up the Bright Angel. So here we go, man. I can't believe it's finally here after all this preparation and a lot of training, and got a good night's sleep last night, so feeling pretty good. So here we go. Good night, everybody. And so 4 a.m., it's still dark, with a headlamp, began running down the trails. Out here in the Grand Canyon, it's about 4:30 in the morning. I can start to see just a hair of light over the ridge, and it is quiet, beautiful. The stars are out. It is gorgeous out here. All right, so here's the deal. I've been running about 35 minutes. I get to this one kind of stop, and I can't find the trail. So sun's coming up. I just got to hang here for about 10 minutes. I've looked at every small trail going out here, and this is kind of ridiculous. You'd think they'd have it better marked than this. So what do? Sometimes life throws you a lemon. Got to make lemonade, but this probably puts me back half hour, and I've been walking probably 20 minutes just trying to find it. So stinks. Sit down on a rock going, I just gotta wait. And finally the sun comes up, begins to come up, and so I wasted 40 plus minutes there. I finally find the trail. Again, the map showed it on one side, but actually the trail went to the other side and went around the other side. Frustrating. Begin to run down and back on track again. And the sun is coming up, and just the beautiful colors on these canyon walls are really inexplainable. I mean, just to see the hand of God was truly amazing. The beauty that just spoke to me from all around was incredible. And so I had 7 miles to get from the south end to the bottom, and so it was just down. You're just running. It's like running down bleacher steps, except they're more crude and there's holes, and you gotta be paying attention. Try not to sprain an ankle. I'm running down as it's winding back and forth on these, these S's almost as these out cutaways and out and backs. So moving down, and finally I could see the bridge at the bottom across the river in the bottom of the canyon. Just incredibly, as I continued to go down closer and closer and closer, and finally crossed over the bridge. Just breathtaking. The sound of the water raging. You feel the power of it, the enormity of it. To be in the bottom of the canyon and to look up and see it from a different angle. I think that's the amazing thing. Most people see it from the top, but to see it from the bottom was something that I will cherish with me my entire life. Made it to the river. Beautimous. So now it looks like some flat. Runs the rim here for a little bit, so hope to kick it. Anyway, it's gorgeous. Gotta run. keep crossing bridges. Pretty flat here running along the canyon. You hear the water down there. Beautiful, still a little cool. It's about 7 a.m. I think, and gorgeous. Making up a little time here on the flat. It's 7:30, and I feel like I'm gonna come around this corner and get hit by the sun, so it's been nice and cool in the shade. Down the bottom of the canyon right now, it's might be 55 degrees maybe, be my guess. No breeze, just nice. I can't imagine though when this canyon heats up how hot it's gonna be. So I think as I turn this corner up here, I'm gonna be in the light. Wanna be in the light, as you are in the light. Wanna shine like the stars. Gotta run. Just hit Cottonwood and making decent time now. But I've got about another 1.4 miles for the next water stop. And then it's gonna be like over 9 miles up and down the mountain, the sidewall, before I can get water again. So it's gonna get crazy. And the sun going in and out of shade right now, but another hour, it's gonna be toasty everywhere. It's a beautiful day. I'm enjoying it. Definitely feeling it in my legs already, a little scary. But time will tell. I think I'm about 14 miles in right now. So here we go. Here at Manzanita filled up. Now I have a long way to go to get back here. Got to go to the top and then come back in order to get more water. So I'm loaded up, and this is where it gets steep. Here we go. There and back would be 9 miles in order to refill with water again. But it wasn't an easy 9 miles. In fact, about 4.5 of climb. And so begin to make the climb, and sometimes I pulled out the sticks and began to power hike because some of it was just too steep. Heading up the north. Kebab. I'm going with Delirious. It's starting to get hot. And some great inclines. But it's still amazingly beautiful. Check out that waterfall. The views are stunning. Camera does not do it any justice. Yeah, you just like stand in awe. So my goal is to allow the beauty of this place to overcome the pain of this place. I already feel in my legs pretty good. Yeah, I mean this is difficult. I see now why they have all those signs saying don't try to go to the bottom and back in the day, much less to the other side and back. But yeah, it's gonna be a great challenge. So this is worth, if you're afraid of heights, probably don't want to be up here. So you want to stay close to the side, because if not, you're going off the edge. On the North Kebab Trail. Have you ever picked a fight with someone that you thought you could win, and then you get into it and you're like, they get the best of you? Well, neither have I, but that's how it feels. This is pretty difficult. Crossing the bridge here, the canyon. We don't have anything like this in Ohio. Man, this thing's kicking my butt. This is a real deal right here. Grand Canyon is unforgiving. I'm getting closer to the top. So man, I think maybe another mile maybe, should be at the top. I'm gonna lay down for about 5 minutes. But there's no water up top. I don't want to hang around too long. I gotta start heading back down, or I'll sweat out. It wouldn't be good. And it's only gonna get hotter. The good thing is it's cooler as you get up higher in the temperature, up in the altitude. So that's nice, but it's gonna be smoking hot down in the valley this afternoon. This is definitely a test, that's for sure. It's got a cool little tunnel here. I feel like feel like you're walking on the edge, like in the movie Lord of the Rings, where they're on the edge, they take one step, they fall to their death. And then, of course, I must walk in to the mountain. I am Thorin, king under the mountain. Thank God there's no orcs or goblins. Well, there's proof that I made it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Man, that's legit. I don't know. I feel like I'm a car. I started with a full tank. I'm down to a quarter tank, and there's no. I got to go back the exact same way I came, and there's no gas station. So, a lot of thoughts like, do I call my buddy Ricky to come and get me? Or do I try to make it back? Dude, my legs are pretty much toast. It's pretty difficult. But knowing you're only halfway, I mean, I guess I only got like just under a marathon left, right? Only 24 miles. You're either going down steep or you're coming up steep. There's a little bit of a flat in between, but this is unbelievable. So I'm gonna eat some stuff, chill out here for a moment, make a decision. Again, I realize most people die on Mount Everest, not on the ascent, but on the descent, because you expend everything you have. And man, I know that if I go on, it's gonna be a serious battle. I hope I can do it in time. Other guy waiting for me, Ricky. That was incredible. We have nothing like that in Ohio. I don't know if I have enough to make it back. It's in the reality of the moment where you start to take evaluation, inventory of yourself, and you go, oh, I don't know if I have it in me. Here's one thing I knew. If I choose to attempt to come back, it is going to be one of the longest days of my entire life. Hit the restroom, hung out for about 15 minutes, ate a bar, drank some water, stretched my legs out. So, go and give it a shot. I've just went rim to rim, now heading back to get one more rim. Crazy. I will say this, harder than I thought. Not that I thought it would be easy, but this is crazy. See what we got left. Adventures like this, you have high times, you have low times, and just trying to learn to wrestle with yourself in the low times, like everything's stripped away, and you just got to deal with some of the inner struggles, and are you able to push yourself? And it's amazing, like, I don't know, the mind, the human body, what it can do, what it can be driven to. But you know, it's really, I believe, the body achieves what the mind believes. Like, you know, I've seen people push themselves to incredible limits, and today I'm going to push myself to one. So, I don't know, I feel a little bit better than I did at the top. It's kind of a little dark. So, turn around and just crush some downhill, although that crushes your thighs. So, trying to eat this elephant one bite at a time. So make it all the way to the bottom. Well, now it's midday. I was able to fill up with water there on the way down, finally covered that 9 miles, and I was really within one little sip of being completely out of water. So all that was going in my head, and I was able to make it there, refilled again, and now water wouldn't be an issue, but now the heat would. Got kind of a second wind, kind of running the canyon before I get to the south side, heading up the Bright Angel. But it's crazy when you think, I only got 15 more miles. Second wind blew away. Extremely hot out here. I mean, man, like 90. You're in the canyon. There's a little bit of a breeze, but not much. It's a 7-mile stretch to get to Phantom Ranch, and then I've only got 9 miles uphill. Love it. I love this. It's flatter though, so I'm able to make up some speed. But running the canyon. I found out that when the canyon floor heats up, it is just like an oven. It literally bakes you. In fact, there's only really 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall that anyone can even attempt this because of the extreme heat in the bottom. You just physically can't do it in a day. And so began to run across the bottom, and I could feel the heat. I could feel myself like, oh, didn't know if I was going to overheat. When I would stop, my face would just feel so hot. And I know that feeling. I know my body. I know my limits. I know my gauges. And I realize it's probably on the edge of heat exhaustion. Middle of the day now, the heat of the sun. I make it across all the way across the canyon floor. It's just kind of rolling a lot of straightaway, so I was able to make up some time. And so I make it all the way across, again, realizing I'm on the edge of overheating, and I make it to Phantom Ranch. I now have between 9 and 10 miles going up the Bright Angel Trail to make it up to the top, the south end. And I make it there. I sit down under a little tree. They have a little cantina there where I guess this small campground where people can reserve a night in a very, very rough cabin setting or tent setting. So I sit under a tree, and before you know it, I'm tossing my cookies. I'm like, all these things go through your mind like, what am I going to do? Like, I've come this far. I can't stop. I throw up everything in my stomach. I go inside. I just want a Coke and a bag of chips. And of course, they sell nothing in bottles because they don't want the trash. I was able to get a lemonade and some pretzels. Well, a very strong lemonade is not the thing to have on a empty, upset stomach. So I drink the lemonade. I'm eating the pretzels, and this lady's like, "Tell me what you're doing again." I'm having this conversation with her, and I'm like, I need to excuse myself. She's like, "Are you okay?" I run outside. I sit down again. I'm throwing up again. I'm like, it's in those dark moments where you realize you're going to have to push yourself beyond maybe something in any place you've ever been before. And I realize I feel horrible. My body's in a difficult place, but do I have it within me mentally? And am I able to dig deep physically to push forward? So I sit there. I'm sitting on the ground, throwing up several times, probably for close to an hour, 55 minutes to an hour. I was able to get back up. I refilled my water, and I said, okay. I just started walking. I made it to Phantom Ranch. Only 9 more miles uphill. I'm toast. Okay. Heading up the Bright Angel. Across the river, and I'm beginning to head up the Bright Angel. Thank goodness the Bright Angel is not as steep or crazy as the South Kaibab Trail. More of the touristy trail, so they have more water on the trail. And so was able to kind of run walk for the next few miles, and then I just started to feel it again. I'm about 4 miles from the top, and I realized like I am completely spent. And it's not an easy 4 miles. In fact, it's an incredibly steep 4 miles. I realize it's going to be the longest 4 miles of my entire life. I'm in pretty rough shape. pretty rough shape. I'm on the edge of dehydration and trying to eat stuff, but not able to hold it down. I haven't thrown up again, but probably six miles from the top. Pretty low. So try to get up and keep walking. Pretty weak. A little bit scary. So I made it to Indian Garden. Got 4.5 miles left. I'm reduced to a walk. I can't run at all. I'm beyond fried. Pushing it.
Been through a lot of lows today. It's crazy when you're in the valley. It's so hard to get back up on the mountain. That's the goal. Finishing a little later probably than I'd like. But I don't really have a choice. Keep it on. I'm moving pretty slow. I just made it to the 3-mile rest house. Fill my water bottles, 3 more miles. Just threw up again. And all my liquid's gone. I just can't hardly eat. I'm just like, tried to eat a bite of something. But I just gotta get out of here, man. So I feel a little bit better since I threw up. But gotta get to the mountain.
I'm sitting there on a rock, probably dazed. I'm not talking the best anymore. I realize I haven't eaten in probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. I just can't keep anything down. And sure enough, here comes a lady, probably in her 60s, and her son, and they're passing me. And I have caked salt on the side of my head. I realize I look horrible. And this lady goes, she looks at me, and they were going to go down. I just passed a small little campground, another half mile. That's where they were going for the night. And she's like, "Sir, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm making it to the top." And she's like, "Where'd you come from?" I'm like, "I started over here, I went over here, and I'm coming back over here." She looks at me, and she was almost irate. She's like, "Sir, people die out here. Sir, you look horrible." And then she told me this: "You're not going to make it. That is not 4 easy miles. You're in no shape to climb this mountain." And I'm like, and she starts screaming. She's like, "Be reasonable, sir. Be reasonable." At that point, I'm like, if she tries to wrestle me down this mountain, I can't stop her, right? I'm literally, totally at the end of myself. And finally, she is just going on, and I go, "What's your name?" She tells me her name. I say, "I'm going to go a little farther. If I feel I can't make it, I'll turn around." She's like, "You can stay at our campsite with me and my son. I'll give you a mat to sleep on. You can get up the next day, and you can go." So I finally, "Okay, what's your name?" She goes on, and I kind of power walk another half mile. I sit down on a rock, and I'm tossing my cookies again. I'm sitting there, and it's starting to get dark, and you realize, like, the longer I sit here, the louder these voices of discouragement begin. They move from whispers, and they suddenly become screams. The longer I sit there, the darker it gets. And what an incredible analogy for kind of where I was. Like, more and more hopelessness seemed to overcome me as I sat there. So I realized I have to get up. I got up and I began to power through it. And like every step, my body's completely dehydrated. I'm trying to drink. Every step of the way was painful. It was painful.
7:38. Sun's going down. You turn on the headlamp here soon. Only less than 3 miles to go.
I'm less than a 5K. I just kept trying to tell myself, just take more steps. Then pretty soon I would walk and have to sit, and I'd walk and I'd have to sit, and I would walk and I have to sit. And finally I'm a good mile and a half from the top. Last water stop. I fill up a water. I'm like, I'm so close. I was able to, it's getting dark by now, but I was able to power up through the top, and I'll never forget coming over the crest of the top, so completely shredded.
Whenever you're ready.
That was the hardest 17 hours of my life. I started before daylight, went down this ridge, and I couldn't find the trail because there's all these side trails. So I'm like, man, so I have to wait 40 minutes for the sunlight. So now I'm running a little bit behind. Make some good time, make it down, make it up the other side, and I realized, dude, I'm hurting. I don't know if I have enough in me. I felt like this, like I left with a full tank and there's no gas station. I got to come back, and I show up to the other side at a quarter tank thinking, can I do this? I make it down the North Mountain to the river, and I had to run across down the canyon. It's super hot. So dude, I make it to the canteen. It's all I can think about is having a Coke. And I just toss my cookies, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm overheating. So I go inside. They have they didn't sell Coke, but I got lemonade. I drink the lemonade, talking to these people, and I said, I need to go. They're like, you all right? I said, nope, I got to go throw up. I walked outside again. Blah. Toss my cookies. So I realized, like, I sit there 55 minutes trying to recover, thinking, I don't know if I have, because I still have to climb 10 miles up the South Canyon wall, which is brutal. And so I wait 55 minutes and just start walking. I ran very little of it, the last mountain, but yeah, I threw up another time. I'm just like, ugh. So right now I'm dehydrated and my body is trash. That was probably, I don't know, top 3 for sure. I don't know if I've pushed myself that far before. You know, I was thinking this, like, it's so hard when you're in the low canyon. You have to work your tail off to get back to the mountain. And then to slide down from the mountains, not easy, but you're running out of control to the bottom. But it's like, man, to get back up here to the mountaintop was a war. It was a battle, which I think that's the way it is in life. So I'm going to sleep great tonight. It's all I could think of is I want a McDonald's milkshake. So, yeah.
I think it's in those times in life where you push yourself beyond your limits that you truly see who you are. And you know what? For me in my own life, I felt in those moments God speaks very clearly to me. And here I was sitting there and I realized something like, for my whole life I've been striving to prove myself to myself. And I think in that moment as I finished that difficult thing, that I realized I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I don't have to prove myself to myself anymore. And so I feel like I walked away answering a deep question in my life. And I think we all have deep questions. I have deep questions. You have deep questions. And sometimes it takes us pushing ourselves beyond our mortal limits in order to answer the deep questions that we are searching for. And of course, I understand my deep questions have been answered by God. And I think He was able to shine some light on a deep area of my life in that moment. And so was able to get in the car. I was so excited. I just kept dreaming of sitting in that rental car, sipping on some Gatorade. Of course, I was so dehydrated. I'm trying to drink Gatorade as we're driving. I'm like, pull the car over, and I'm throwing up. It took me forever to be able to sip on enough water to be able to hold it down. I probably should have went honestly and got an IV. I think after you get through something like that, you look back and you realize how rough shape you were in. I was in pretty rough shape. Like, dude, my body was trashed. And so, but I look at this, incredible moment and experience. Like, I honestly, someone said, would you do it again? I said, no, I would never do it again. But I would not trade this experience for the world. So what is it for you? What is your next step? What is it? What is an area that maybe you need to push through, that who knows what lies on the other side of this incredible obstacle? Really, it's not about the destination. So for me in this, it wasn't about getting from one side to the other and back. Ultimately, it was about what that journey did inside of me. And I think that's what life's all about, right? It's not just getting to a destination, but truly it's the journey that shapes us. So go after it. Chase it. What dream is it for you? What experience is it in your life that you go, man, if I could walk through this and push through this, this would make me a better person. I believe in life, 2 things that shape us: our relationships and our experiences. We can't always choose our relationships. Some we can, some we were born into, but we can choose. We can't always choose our experiences, but there are some we can choose. What would happen if we were intentional with experiences that we knew would shape us into better people? So I would challenge you with that. Wish you the best.